if you landed on this video, you're probably here because you might have gotten this microphone here and you're trying it out and you just can't get it to sound good, right? This is the Blue Yeti and this microphone is awesome, but you do have to get it set up right for it to work well. So in this video, I want to talk about the settings that I'm using on this mic so that hopefully it's going to help you get some awesome results from this microphone, just like it does for me. But hey, if you're new here, my name is Jay Yelowski, and on this channel I make a lot of videos about DaVinci Resolve to help you learn how to edit in DaVinci Resolve, as well as videos to help you grow your YouTube channel and the occasional gear video, because we all love some gear, right? So if you're into any of those things, consider subscribing to my channel. All right, so the Blue Yeti here, I got this a bunch of years ago when I started my YouTube channel here and really started making more videos and putting out more content. And I've got to say, this thing has been a workhorse. It has given me awesome sound, and I've been really impressed with how well it works. That said, it did take me a little while to find the settings that worked best for me. It is a USB microphone, so if you're brand new, you just got one, or you're thinking about getting one, it's a USB microphone. Goes right into your computer. You don't need an audio interface or anything like that. And some of the awesome features about this mic is that it's got different pickup patterns. It's got different settings that we'll take a look at in a minute here once we change our camera angle so you can see this a little bit better. But it also has an option that you can hook your headphones right into here. It's got a volume on there so that you can change the volume of your headphones. And it comes with a nifty little stand that works out pretty good, although I've been using a boom arm just to kind of help with some of the vibrations, because if I go like that on the desk, when I had it on the stand that it came with, you could hear that a lot. Or if I move my hands on the desk, you can still hear it a little bit, but you used to hear it a lot more. So that's why I moved to one of these boom arms. So another thing that I picked up for this microphone was the pop filter. Now, you don't necessarily need it. I didn't use one for a long time until this one by Blue was on sale, because this one is expensive. I don't know why it's so expensive. But you can just turn the mic a little and speak more past the mic, which is what I used to do for a long time. And that's also going to help give you a better sound and help get rid of some of those plosives for you. Now I'm going to go change the angle on the camera here so we can get a closer look at this microphone. We're going to talk about the gain settings on here, as well as the pickup pattern that I typically use. I'm also going to show you on the computer how I set my levels for the mic. And hopefully these couple tips I'm going to give you are going to help you get the most out of this microphone and just really get some good audio. Because this thing out of the box, I got to be honest, is really good. I mean, it sounds good. You almost don't need to do any processing to it. So let's get into some specifics of how to use this microphone to get the best results. So the first thing you might be thinking is, well, where do I put it? How close do I need to have it to me if I'm the one talking, or whatever your audio source might be? So right now, this is where I would kind of use it in my setup, and where I did use it in the past. I have it on the stand that it came on, and it's about 6 to 8 inches away from my mouth. Now this works out good for me because I can keep the gain down real low, and I don't have to worry about, cranking that gain up and trying to pick up a lot of sound. Because it's so close to me, I can keep that turned down, which is going to eliminate a lot of the background noise that may come through. For example, right now the fans on my computer over here are running, and maybe you can hear it, maybe you can't, I don't know. I'll be quiet for a second. So maybe you could hear it. I'm not sure until I go back and listen to it. But this is how I would keep my microphone, and it seems to work out pretty well for me. Now, the next thing you might notice is that I've got the microphone off to the side. I don't have it directly in front of me like this. Why? Well, one, you can't see me. It blocks my face a little bit, right? But two, when I'm speaking directly into the microphone, there's a better chance that there's going to be plosives. So like Peter Piper picked a peck. You might hear those hard P sounds going right into the microphone there, and we don't want that. I don't want to have to take care of that later. So you can eliminate that by using a pop filter. That's going to help. But if you don't have a pop filter, I turn the microphone to the side like this, and I speak past it. I'm not speaking directly into it. I'm speaking past it right to you guys. So this way, any hard P sounds, the air that might puff out of my mouth as I'm talking, it's not going directly into the microphone. It's just going right past it. And the microphone's still going to do a perfectly fine job of picking up my voice as the sound travels past the front of the microphone. So that's what I would recommend if you don't have a pop filter, and I don't think you necessarily need it for this microphone. I would just turn it to the side and have it on the side of you a little bit. And especially if you've got a camera here, it doesn't matter. I think it works out good to have it on the side, so it's not blocking your face. Now, why do I want to keep it this close? Well, if I move the microphone a little farther away, so let's say I have it over there, or maybe I even move it out of frame, it's going to sound like I'm farther away. It's going to sound a little bit hollower. And even if I grab my gain, even if I turn up the gain here, it's going to introduce more background noise, maybe some hiss, and it's just not going to sound so great. So let me go ahead and pull that back in and fix that gain. All right, so I put the gain back down. Now let's talk about those pickup patterns again. I mentioned them before briefly, but let me just show you exactly what they sound like and how they work. So the first one here, if I move my microphone back in front of me, is the cardioid pickup pattern, which is directly in front of the microphone, which is what I would use when I'm recording myself, or maybe I'm doing some screen recording, I'm playing some games, and I need to record my voice or speak into it. That's the pattern I would use because that's going to eliminate noise around the back and sides of the microphone. So typically that's what I'm going to use. So if I change it to a different mode here, now I'm picking up in the front and the back of the microphone. Let's say maybe I'm doing an interview and I've got somebody sitting on this side of the table and I'm here. Well, we can have the microphone pick up the front and the back. So if I come over to the side a little, that should lose some pickup of me, as well as coming over to this side, it should drop down my vocals and you shouldn't hear me as much. Now if I turn the microphone around, just so you can hear what it sounds like, you should be hearing me the same in the back as you do in the front here. So that's how that pickup pattern works. You get the front and the back of the microphone. And remember, we're never talking into the top of this particular microphone. You're talking into the front and the sides. So the next pickup pattern we have is the omni-directional pickup pattern. What that means is anywhere around the microphone is going to get picked up. It doesn't have to be in one particular spot. So if I turn the microphone, I'm on the back of it now. Now I'm over on the side. We should be getting constant audio and levels all the way around. And if I turn it back so that it's facing me, I'm speaking into the front of it here, and it should be the same no matter where I go around the microphone. Now, what are the downsides to that pickup pattern? Well, if I'm picking up everything around here, that means my computer's running over here. We can hear that. If there's noises over there or by the camera, there's a camera guy maybe working the camera, which there's none here. But if there was, you might hear him if he did something or made some kind of noise back there. So I wouldn't recommend the omnidirectional pickup pattern if you're, working in an environment like this, you're making videos, you're screen recording something, or you're playing a game and you're talking into the front of the mic. You don't need to pick up everything all around it. You just need you on this side. And the last pickup pattern that we have here is the side-to-side pickup pattern. So now instead of doing front to back, we're doing side to side. So if I come over here, we should be on the left channel. And if I come over on this side, we should be on the right channel. So it's like a stereo pickup here. And if I'm here in the middle on the back side or the front side of the microphone, move around to the back side here, you shouldn't be hearing me as much as if I was over here on this side or over here on this side. So again, now we're back to that cardioid pickup pattern, and that's the one that I would recommend and the one that I would use. And I'll just pull in the microphone a little bit closer here, and about right there is where I would keep it. Another thing to think about is how you are mounting this microphone. Now, this is the setup that this microphone came with, and I'm sure some of the other Blue Yetis are similar, but there's nothing wrong with this. I used this for a long time. You don't need a boom arm to put it on or whatever. This works out fine. The only thing that I noticed is that sometimes it'll pick up desk noise. And you'll catch vibrations from the desk, whether you're typing or whatever it might be. If you're banging your elbows or something, you might pick it up through the stand a little bit. So if you want to put something under there to help absorb the shocks a little bit underneath here, you can do that. There's nothing under there now. It's just a foam little pad there, but it doesn't really do too much. So that's the only thing that you might want to think about with using this particular stand. And another thing regarding the stand, when you go to get a pop filter, just check out the kind of attachment that it needs to attach to the stand, because a lot of them have like a bracket where they could attach to something that's circular or square, but this stand here is a little odd shaped and they don't really fit well in there. I actually made my own custom bracket that just went behind one of these screws. It was a metal bar that sticked out like this, had a little hole in it, and then I could attach my pop filter to that, and that worked out really good. And actually, I have a video on that. I'll link to that above here. You can go check that out. All right, rotating this guy back around here. So in order to get a good sound, the gain knob here is something you really need to pay attention to. So this gain knob, I'm gonna bring it back in here. So this gain knob right here is super important. And the reason is that if you have this turned up pretty much any more than I have it now, which is a quarter of the way up. So here's 0. And if I turn it up, I should be peaking out and it should be getting pretty loud. And if I'm quiet, you should even be able to hear the fans on my computer running. So what you want to do is you want this knob right here, your gain, to be definitely less than that much. Again, there's 0. I'm going to bring it up maybe around there. Maybe it's 25%, probably even less maybe. And the reason that you want to keep your gain down low like that is because that limits the microphone from picking up a lot of extra noise that you might have in your environment. This microphone gets real sensitive real quick once you crank up that gain. So you want to keep that as low as you can. Now, most of this video I'm doing with this lav mic right here, just as I'm playing with this, but I will switch back and forth and I will note it on the screen when I'm using the Yeti versus when I'm using my lav mic, and you'll probably hear the difference too. So super important, that gain, you want it as low as you can with it still being able to pick up your voice. You know, that way you got to hold the microphone within a foot, maybe 6 to 8 inches at most from your mouth. And that's going to give you good pickup on your microphone. And it's going to eliminate a lot of that extra noise that you might hear in your environment. Now, in my little studio here, I've got acoustic blankets all the way around me. I'm in a little room I built in my basement. So it does a pretty good job of limiting the sound that you would hear, you know, bouncing and echoing and that kind of stuff. There's still a little bit of that, but my environment is pretty good. Before I had all my acoustic blankets up, the environment was not that good. And this thing would pick up, you know, a little bit of reverb or echo bouncing off the walls and things like that. So by keeping this gain knob down, that's going to limit how much this mic picks up and how sensitive it is. So then once you get that set, the next thing you need to do is jump into your computer. Again, obviously, I'm assuming you plugged in the USB into your computer and you want to go to your computer. I'm working on a Mac, but I imagine it's going to be similar on a PC. I want to make sure that I got good levels coming into my computer. So we got our microphone set up. The gain is where I think it should be. It's not too high. We're getting a little bit of a signal. Now we're going to jump on the computer, finally tweak a little bit more of our levels here, just to make sure we're getting a good signal and we've got some good audio to work with. So let's jump onto the computer and see what we got over there. So again, like I mentioned, I'm on a Mac here and I've got the Yeti microphone hooked up, and that's what you're currently hearing me on is the Yeti. So I have that gain down and it's turned up just a little bit on the actual microphone, as we already talked about. Super important. I know I keep mentioning it, but that's probably the most important part here. The next thing we want to look at here is your sound input settings in your computer. So I'm on a Mac. This is where I find it, and I've got the input right here selected, and I can see my Yeti microphone right here. Now down here is my levels coming into the computer. So you want to make sure your levels aren't going too high. You don't want them to peak all the way up to the top here, because that's too much, and it would be too strong. So you're going to have to do some tests and see how it works out for your environment. Mine, I have the computer boosted up a little bit more and the gain on the microphone lower, but I can drop this down a little bit and you should be able to hear my voice get a little bit quieter. And if I bring it back up, say 75% there, you know, I've got some decent levels. That's not too bad. And if I yell, hello, we're not peaking all the way up. So I had it up just a little bit higher, so I'll bring that up just a little more. And that seems to work out pretty good on my Mac. Now, again, I would run some tests and see what sounds the best on the microphone, because I'm sure the way, you know, Macs versus PCs versus, I don't know, whatever kind of computer you're on is processing the signal might be a little different. So on a Mac, this is the best way that I found to get good results from this microphone. So that's what I would use for computer settings. And again, if you can back it down on the computer and make it a little bit lower, then I would do that. Make it as low as you can. And that's just going to limit the amount of noise getting picked up around the mic. And it's just going to help you get a cleaner signal with less background noise, because we all hate background noise, right? Oh, by the way, if you need to get rid of some background noise and you use DaVinci Resolve, check out this video up here. It'll tell you how to get rid of some of that background noise in DaVinci Resolve. So like I said, this microphone is good enough straight out of the box. You don't need to do anything to it. And I love this microphone. I think it's great. But that said, when I bring it into DaVinci Resolve, because that's what I use to edit all my programs, awesome program, by the way. If you're not using it, definitely check it out and check out some other videos on my channel. But when I bring it into DaVinci Resolve, I am going to do a little bit of audio processing on it. I'm going to set my levels correctly in DaVinci Resolve once I bring in that video. Then I'm also going to apply a little bit of EQ, because every microphone and every voice, I think, can benefit from a little bit of EQ. So I'm an audio nerd, love me some good audio, right? Because audio is, I'd say, at least half the battle when you're making videos especially, right? I might also want to add a gate in there that's going to help get rid of any background noise or maybe some noise reduction, because regardless of how good your setup is, you're probably going to get a little bit of background noise in there. So you may want to use a little bit of background noise reduction if you need it. Another thing I'm going to do is go into my dynamics in DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to add a little bit of compression. You know, I may need to boost the levels a little, add a little compression, just kind of tighten up that sound a little bit. And I also may even throw on a multi-band compressor. So you add those couple things together there, and that really kind of shapes the sound even more for you. But the most important part is that you've got a good, clean signal to start with. That's going to make your job of enhancing the audio even easier. So I hope these tips were helpful. Right now I'm throwing the audio back to the Yeti here. This is the full process version of how I edit my audio here in DaVinci Resolve to get the best sounding audio I can out of my Yeti. I've been doing it for a long time. If you see other videos on my channel, it's all using the Yeti and using the processing that I'm using right now. And I'm sure if you use any of Blue's other microphones, I'm sure they're all awesome. I know they got a ton of great stuff. Would love to try some out. So Blue, if you're listening and you'd like me to try out some microphones, hey, reach out to me. Let me know. That'd be awesome because I love me some good audio. But if you guys have any questions, definitely leave a comment down below. Love audio stuff, and I would love to help you guys get better audio if you're having any troubles. So that's it for me in this one, guys. If you learned a little something and helped you get some good audio, give me a thumbs up, would you? And subscribe to the channel. Definitely hit the bell so you get notified whenever I put out a new video. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace. No, seriously, this microphone is awesome. Anyway, love me some good audio. If you want to know how to make your audio even better, be sure to check out some of my DaVinci Resolve tutorials, because in your YouTube videos, audio is half the battle, if not more than half the battle, right? All right, guys, I'll see ya. Peace.